Peace, y'all. This is Mogul Jill with the Who Got the Answers podcast.
Peace, family. This is Mogul Jill with the Who Got the Answers podcast. And I'm really excited because today we have the king here, Brotha Truth. So I just want to say thank you so much for being here with us today.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
Of course. How are you doing today?
I'm doing well. Definitely no complaints. Definitely, feeling lovely, to be on the show here with you today. So
thank you.
Yeah, just, feeling good.
That makes me feel lovely.
Yeah.
Okay. You definitely brought some great energy, and we always appreciate that.
Indeed.
So let's get into it.
Indeed.
So who is Brotha Truth?
Just a brother raised here in Houston, Texas.
Okay.
Born and raised in Houston. Went to school on the northwest side. Graduated from Cypress Falls High School and went to college at Jackson State University. And played ball for a little bit out in New Mexico before I transferred there and went to Jackson State.
All right.
And Jackson State's kind of when everything kind of changed for me in my life. Just first time getting to be around, just a predominantly melanated school.
Yes.
Just so many different shades of melanin.
Yes.
And it was just lovely. And that was the time I got to go across overseas to China, learn to speak a different language. And that's kind of what started me on my entrepreneurial journey. And that's when I chose to be an entrepreneurship major, which kind of led to everything that I'm kind of doing today, and just, using my ability to speak. I was always a rapper and a poet, so I just wanted to use that and just my ability to perform, almost just be out and being able to use my voice as an instrument to speak truth and pass knowledge and wake people up, man. So it's kind of what led to everything that's happening today.
So that's where the name Brotha Truth comes from.
Yeah, I'm your brother, and this truth I'm here to give you.
I love that.
Man.
And you know what? Really, for real, he's serious when he say he's your brother. And literally, anytime that I've interacted with you, you've been so awesome, peaceful.
Thank you.
Inviting. You're very knowledgeable, and you share that.
Indeed.
And I just want to give you your flowers while you're here, because so many leaders, of course, your time is very valuable, and you definitely deserve to be compensated for your value, right? But you still help your brothers.
For sure.
And your sisters.
Indeed.
And I love that.
Thank you.
So, you were saying you love to, perform and speak. Basically, you have the gift of gab.
Indeed. I would think so a little bit, some have told me I do. So,
okay, and you say you entrepreneur, so tell us about the businesses that you have.
Well, I think just, I think if you want to talk about any progression for any community, it definitely starts with entrepreneurship.
Yes.
And, for myself, I was always kind of, when I started, I was in technology and, software and stuff, and I went to Jackson State and I invented one of the first. From there, I was the first student to ever patent an invention for it. I had a smart wireless headset, so we had started that when we were in college, and from there, it just kind of, trickled on to, how can I use this gift, this talent of, loving to create and make entrepreneurship and use it to actually help our people. So, that's when I kind of started with, creating many different kind of businesses, and, I Self-Loan Master, and which is, one of my, I guess, thoroughbred businesses. That's the one that's kind of lasted the longest out of anything that I've ever done. And we've had different other businesses, cannabis, and just different things like that, and different markets. And just from there, we just now try to see how can we service the community with any business or any creation that we do. Even whether it's fashion, clothes, or shoes, whatever. Does it have a message? Is it, we got some shoes coming out soon. Yeah, so, it's just all about a message. What are you trying to portray? And even if you can get your culture across, do it through the same way that they do it to us, through marketing, through messages. And, we just need to take that power back and do it for our own people. So that's kind of what started me on my whole entrepreneurial journey, and, kind of got me started with a few businesses that I do have.
Yes,
ma'am.
I love that. I love that you even came up with the Self-Loan Master, because a lot of people like me, I always wanted to go to law school. Like when I was younger, I was like, I want to be a lawyer.
Same.
You know, so I was like, well, I got to go through undergrad to go to law school, or I have to do this, I have to do that. And the thing about it is, that's not true, you know? Right. And the fact that lawyers are actually owned by who? Well, the lawyers in America, I mean, the whole court system.
The British Accredited Registry and the whole bar system, all of them are owned by Britain, you know? So, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a whole corporate legal fictitious system. Yeah. And, I mean, at the end of the day, I don't even really think going to law school, they would even teach you the truth about, you know, real constitutional law. They might teach you some corporate codes and statutes, you know, because it's a corporation, no different than if you work at, you know, Burger King or Apple, you know, they might have, you know, you can't wear blue jeans or white shirts on Friday or something, you know, whatever it may be, but that's a code. That's not actual law that exists in society. So as long as you're operating within their corporation and their codes and statutes, that's what they're going to teach their people. That's how everybody's going to operate. And, you know, it's not their job to teach you constitutional law, you know. That's something that, you know, you're supposed to know at home and then your parents and pass down to you just to know how to protect yourself. You know, but yeah, of course, we were never taught that. Many of us weren't, but, you know, yes.
So, absolutely. So, let's get into when we talk about self-law and not being taught basically the real law, the Constitution, like our parents, like my family, they didn't teach me. I'm gonna step out and do it because the people, they have to hear this.
For sure.
So I want to know a little bit, what is status correction? Like, what does that mean for our people?
Okay. Well, you know, status, just by definition, is just, you know, your condition in society, pretty much. You know, what is your condition as far as your rights and everything, as far as existing in society. So, again, you know, most of us are operating within a corporation, and you know, just to even take that all the way back, you know, how can I say, you know, this is your mother is, you know, you were born in your mother's wombs, and you know, everybody is swimming through her waters, and you know, eventually when she has the child, you know, the baby is birthed into the dock. You know, because everything is operating on maritime laws of the waters. So, you know, when she's birthed at the dock, you know, of course, the doctor, he sees the baby and then he registers his property. And everybody is registered as state property, and they grow up in this system basically operating as a corporate fictitious entity. And I say that because, you know, you're given a straw man, shall I say. You know, nobody's actually doing business with you, the actual sovereign living being. You know, everybody has this business that was created for them, and they're operating as this name all caps business. So, you know, that's why that, you know, the birth certificate, the driver's license, everything's in a corporate ID, you know, and you have a corporate ID for operating in their corporate world. So, you know, a status correction is basically knowing and understanding that you are separated. You know, that you are apart from this entity, you know, that you are just to come back and control this entity. And, you know, and it's about setting up a private side now, knowing that, you know, okay, well, I'm not just this slave. I need to go back and take control over this and also create a private side that I can now start taking things out of their public world and put it in my private world where it's safe and secure and nobody in the public world can touch it. So it's basically a game of the Matrix. You know, you're plugging in and plugging out. You know what I'm saying? So a status correction is knowing that you do wake up and know that there's an other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And speaking of, you know, how we are already, you know, navigating through a business entity, that's why LLCs are important.
Oh, extremely.
So let's, you know, expound on that.
Oh, well, you know, I mean, you know, once, you know, the more and more you know, get into the commercial practices and businesses and trust and, you know, different kind of entities, you know, you want to start operating through, you know, vehicles like LLC to do business in their public world, instead of doing business through your social, which you can, it's totally fine. But, you know, for business purposes, you would rather operate through a business avatar. That's kind of what the LLCs are. It's kind of like that movie Avatar when the dude was just jumping from his body into these blue bodies. You know, it was like, you know, that's what a business is. You're jumping into the blue body And, you know, that avatar, that LLC is the one that's taking the hit, never you personally.
Yeah.
You know, just like in the movie, if his avatar got messed over, his body wasn't actually hurt. It was just the avatar that got taken out. So it's the same way when it comes to businesses and LLCs. It's about knowing that, you know, when you get wiser, you stop doing things and putting up so much liability and putting yourself out there. You get behind a vehicle. And, you know, and there's other benefits, of course, to operating with an LLC, like tax write-offs and, you know, converting it to an S Corp and just different things like that, you know, that they give you different tax benefits where you can pretty much, you know, write off almost 100% of the taxes every single time if you know how to structure it right.
Yes. So speaking of, you know, so many people were upset when the red hat man was, when we found out how many taxes he wasn't paying or lack thereof. And my thing was, why are we getting upset? Why don't we learn what he's doing?
Right.
You know, so even just talking about trust, that's another, you know, navigation. I'm not gonna lie, you really helped me understand what a trust is, because I am a student of I self-law and master. Yes, so
thank you.
I really I really do appreciate this information, because we go through life for so long, you know, and we don't know this stuff. And even, you know, we introduced it to our elderly parents and family, and they'll get it, you know what I'm saying? But they go through what is it called? Cognitive dissonance.
Cognitive dissonance. Oh yes.
So
very familiar,
you know, so trust. We definitely have to get you guys into I Self-Law and Masters, so you can really get your estate planning together.
Indeed.
Trust, status correction.
All of that.
Another thing that I want to get into right now is the SF 181 form.
Yeah, it's one of my favorites.
Yeah.
They just keep it all the way 100 and real on that form, and pretty much it's an office and management and budget form. It's for ethnicity change in their system. You know, if you want to change your ethnicity or modify it or what it is in your system, in their system. And, you know, just in the status correction part, again, status correction is 95% mental, 5% paperwork. It's about truly knowing that this is a business operation going on. So basically, you know, with the SF 181, just a part of the process of doing, you know, when you're having your status correction, that's about actually going back to change that ethnicity and what they classified you as within their system. And, you know, everybody is classified by, you know, the nations or their descendants, you know, on that form. Pretty much on the SF 181, you know, Hispanics, Latinos, for that matter, they don't even classify them with the rest of the humans. They don't even classify them as human beings. You know, they just say they're Hispanic or Latino, and there is no Hispanic Adonia or no Latina Adonia on the map for them to claim. So that's a whole false identification. So they didn't even classify them with the rest, because truly, you know, a lot of them, you know, truly, I mean, not a lot, but they are they are our cousins.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And, you know, Puerto Ricans, Dominicans, all this, you know, and that's a whole story within itself. But, you know, so at the end of the day, they know who they are too as well. So therefore, you know, they kind of mess up their classification, and that's a trick question on that form to get them to check off that, I'm Hispanic, so, you know, you just classified yourself, you know, as a 14th Amendment shadow who's civilly or more too civilly dead in the eyes of the law. You know, so at that point, that marks them off. But then when you get down to the other nationals, you know, that's on there, and the other people, you know, they list American Indians, Asians, you know, Chinese, you know, just all these different people.
And I actually have the form.
Oh yeah.
Right. So I actually have the form, right?
Oh yeah.
And we're gonna actually put it on the screen for you guys, actually, so that you can actually see. Okay, because we don't have to try to convince you.
Right.
This is in black and white. These are the documents that you have filled out over and over, and you fill these out for your kids, for everybody in your family, and I've never even read that until this year.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and it's been there. It's definitely, you know, it's been in existence for quite some time, and it's just, you know, how to update your ethnicity within their system. You know, and you know, as you see on there, everybody all of those, nationals that they put on there in question too, all come from original peoples.
Yeah.
Everybody comes from original peoples, but for some reason, that status of being black or African American or whatever, those just come from some.
It
Black
says
Africa group,
any of the black racial groups of Africa. You can't even Google it.
Yeah, I don't even. Who is that? The black racial groups of Africa. What flag
and it
is
says
that?
any.
What nation? Any of them. It's fine. Whatever. From East Coast, West Coast, North Coast. It don't matter. They from.
No,
any.
it's not funny.
Yeah,
but
just,
this is blatantly in our faces. And I just had Pop Darby on the podcast, and we were talking. He was saying women are more inclined and they naturally do the paperwork.
Yeah, they gravitate towards the knowledge more swiftly, more open to it. I would think more of our brothers. Some of them are a little bit more stubborn. That I've come across, but the ones that definitely lock in and definitely take it serious. Become quite masterful at it.
Yeah.
Because we all, as this is really just business when you come down to it, and those brothers who really understand it and really see the opportunities and what they can do with this, because really taking control over your life comes with nothing but benefits in my eyes. I really can't see anything that's negative because now you're just in control. So once you know that, it helps you with court cases. It's tickets and all kind of things, loans and once you know the game. So it's like brothers, they get it. Once they catch on, they're a little bit slower, but the sisters, they definitely gravitate towards the knowledge and information. They're definitely more willing to, more humble, shall I say, to learn the information. Usually sometimes with men, it's usually an ego thing or he can't know more than, and all these other kind of things, And, but just, with a lot of sisters, for myself, I know it's a natural gravitation. And, if you're willing to learn, like the information is definitely there, Yeah, it's just my job to give it, and I'm a true believer in the matriarch. So, I believe that sisters will definitely come back and, power will definitely be asserted, in a whole new way. We've been living our whole life under a patriarchal system.
Yeah.
We could try it at least for a day. We could try it.
Yeah, at least for a day.
Yeah, at least,
What can we lose with that?
Yeah, we can't lose, but, people will see those days will turn to weeks and weeks to years and everything else like that. So, we definitely want peace and nurturement, and that's what the sister brings,
Yeah, that's absolutely, it is very empowering for us queens to sit beside kings that literally big us up and give us our props. And Deshaun would tell you, lately it's just been so much overwhelming love from the masculine community in a great positive way. I'm not the woman that can be out here and we just be like, black men ain't shit or this, that, and the other. And it's just I always ask females yo, you never met a man that actually had love for you and that actually loved and cared for you. And that's why we have to love each other, family. We really do. We have to give each other props. We have to give each other so much love.
For sure.
Because it's so many things. We wake up to different war battles every single day.
Every day. And in this matrix, for sure.
Yeah. So, it's so many, we don't have time. It's so many small, little things that we think are just so simple, but they're really greater in the outcome. So, let's get back to it. So, paperwork, right? Speaking of, the paperwork, with, debt discharge.
Okay.
And actually becoming the status correction. It can be a complicated system if you don't organize it and start it from step to step and set out your goals.
For sure.
That's what I had to learn, because then you'll just get so busy doing so much
and be all over the place.
Yeah,
it's all execution.
Yeah,
sure.
Absolutely.
For sure, because it'll all basically come down to an administrative process and, really getting somebody to prove that, you owe a debt, which is impossible because you were the original creditor.
Yeah.
Every single time, anytime you use that 9-digit number, You know, that social, that EIN, you know, you were the creditor for that transaction, for that consumer transaction. And truly, you know, that's an obligation of the United States to pay. That's not even your debt, you know, according to 18 U.S.C. 8. So, you know, at the end of the day, it's just like, you know, when you do this administrative process, it's really all about execution. You know, you have 30 days, make sure you stay on top of your paperwork. They don't answer, send off this, that. You know, the main reason why people can't really get the remedy and success that they really want is because, you know, a lot of times the paperwork be everywhere. They'll, you know, want to do things on time and, you know, and it just, you know, and, you know, things to get the reset and then, you know, they got to start over and all this other kind of stuff. So, you know, yeah, it's a process, you know, and it's literally a strict discipline, you know, and making yourself buckle down to make sure that you handle your affairs, literally. And that's what really now handling your affairs is handling these, you know, accounts and removals on the back end when you've used your social or 9-digit number to acquire some property in their world. You know, because we already know there is no debt. The debt was never created because I used my credit to, you know, fund the whole transaction. So what you got me paying every month is truly a tax. And, you know, as a free national, we don't pay taxes because that's unconstitutional, you know. So at the end of the day, man, it's just, you know, once you're more trained in the law and you're able to just really have a conversation with these people, you know, it's nothing to pick up the phone and just give them a call. It's nothing to, you know, I mean, like you can, like they do us, you know, and bother these people and get on their nerves and, you know, hit up the Consumer Finance Protection Bureau. You know, it's an actual bureau and system that's actually been put together to protect you as a consumer who actually works on your behalf. So, you know, you can actually put complaints in with these people, letting them know about the fraud that these companies are doing, and they'll go after them. You know, so it's just about working smarter and not harder and just making sure you stay on top of your affairs. Because, I mean, if you can do that, then there's really, you know, what's the purpose of really working a 9 to 5? You do that to get money, but at the end of the day, if you already knew you were unlimited, you would just learn how to use these blessings that you were given at birth. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, you have that insurance number for a reason.
Yes, that insurance bond
because,
number.
yeah, indeed. Once you use that 9-digit number, you know, they're going to ensure that that obligation is paid for if you knew that they had to pay it. Yeah, if you never ever told them to, then why would they do it? I'm going to make you just work, and that's really how slavery works today.
Yes, so, and that's why I love, you know, self-law. Self-law, I am master, right?
I self-law, I am master.
Yes, self-law, I am master, because you really learn to master yourself.
Indeed. And
everything that you're taught, like growing up, is the opposite of mastering yourself.
For sure.
And that's why it's like, that's why people procrastinate so much when it comes to the paperwork, when it comes to replying back and, you know, going to the post office and getting the things that you need from there, going and get the impact, everything. You really become, like, I've worked at an insurance company multiple times. I'm like, man, all I had to do was run my own insurance company, be my own bank.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You could have did that yourself.
Yes, everything, and we don't realize that the banks they use 90%. They use more money than we do of our own.
Of our own, yeah. We loan out 90% and only keep 10% in the bank.
And that's why, you know, I see so many different leaders. I know they be studying as well, but they go to different banks and they can't get their money out, or they tell them, like, well, you gotta pre-order.
No.
You want 20K, you want 50K, you want 60K? They gotta pre-order that, right? And so what advice can you give to someone that's, you know, in high school, in college? How, because that's when the banks and everybody just coming at them so hard. What advice can you give them about creating their own banks and being their own creditor?
Well, I mean, just at the end of the day, it's really about, you know, taking the time to know, study, and understand law, you know, and understand, you know, knowing first that you are a consumer in their system, and knowing that's not a bad thing. It's actually a good thing. It's a positive thing. We've always taught that was like some negative connotation. Someone was always bad with that, so we never really researched what that was. But they have whole consumer laws that are built and designed just to protect you, you know, and serve you. So, I would just tell youngsters definitely just to learn and start with, 3 main things for sure. In this country, Congress, is the one that passes laws. So there's 3 important chapters, that these United States codes that all of these people should know, that are federal laws that all of these people have to abide by, and that's the TILA, the Truth in Lending Act, and that's 15 USC 1692. Definitely learn the definitions. That's what they tell you. Congress tells you right there in there, that you are the creditor. Basically they tell you what a consumer is, and a consumer is a natural person. And they tell you that, and we already know that businesses can't be consumers because they're not natural people. So once we start looking at some of these contracts and start realizing who we are in the situation, because the consumer is the creditor, and the creditor always has the right to defer the payments because we're the ones that truly funded the debt. But if we don't know who we are, we think that we're the debtor, we think that we're the borrower, when really they're borrowing your credit and loaning it back to you with interest at that.
Yes.
So it's crazy, but that's the fraud. And it's so many levels to it, that could go on for days. But man, I forgot, what was the original question? I'm sorry, my mind was everywhere.
The advice that you would
I'm sorry, yeah. So the advice though, y'all cut that, but the advice I would definitely say is, teaching them TILA, Truth in Lending Act, 15 USC 1602, then FCRA, which is the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which is 15 USC 1681, and then I would also teach them the FDCPA, which is the Fair Debt Collection Practices Act, which is 15 USC 1692. Those are
that's
3
how we have to be.
very, very important chapters. But go ahead, sister.
Yes, thank you. So, okay.